First, tell me what your occupation is and how you think those skills will translate to help you in the capacity as a council member.
I'm a supervisor out at Fort Hood. I supervise an environmental support team. Those functions, we have varying disciplines there. My team consists of pollution prevention, and how that specifically relates to the position of city council member is that we go out and we find the challenges and find solutions to them and find tangible solutions. And that's one of the things I really want to do as a council member, is to find what the challenges are in the city, go out, find potential solutions to them, be a good listener, bring the stakeholders, the citizens in, and try to come to an agreement or a compromise to what some of those challenges are. One of the other things that I manage is environmental management systems, which is just a management system. And what that does is we go out and we look at our systems, we say what we're going to do, and then do what we say, and then we go and internal audit ourselves, and then always seek continual improvement. I think, again, that relates to a council position, to where we go out. I'm a firm believer that if you fail to plan to fail. So we need to look at our plans that we have, make sure that they're accurate, make sure that they're kept current, and follow them. I just last evening saw a good example of that, the comprehensive land use plan. We have it in the city. The city council has been very consistent about saying that we're not going to change that, and I think that's a good thing to do, because that really sets the stage for future growth, for people to be consistent and know where we're going. The other thing that I do is I'm responsible for environmental training for Fort Hood. And how that relates is it allows me to go in and do respectful debates with people, actually go in and do solution finding, and more importantly is bring people to the table when we have issues and get their input, because I don't know what I don't know, but somebody else does. And I think that's important to always remember, that when we go forward, I'm not the smart guy. I'm only 1/7 of the council, but there's somebody in our community that knows how to get that, has been somewhere specifically in our diverse community that we have here. So I really want to be a listener. I'm known for being a fact finder, going out and finding the facts, and then making those deliberate and strategic decisions based off of that. And then finally, the other part of what we do out there at Fort Hood is I'm responsible for environmental compliance inspections. How that relates is it allows me to go out, again, as I was talking about being fact-finding, is looking at the legislative type of things, looking at our city charter, looking at our plans, and then making sure we're following those. Not only our citizens, I think that we need to be responsible there, but our staff, because our city really needs to lead by example. I have total confidence in what our staff is capable of doing here. I've made it my business as part of my fact-finding mission to go out and talk to staff members, the city managers thus far, and I've got appointments with other folks, the police chief, find out what their issues are. And it's amazing what I really didn't know. And I want to continue that, going out to the community, listening to citizens, trying to find a common denominator from citizens. And I think I found a couple of those, and they kind of fall in line with what I believe in too. So I think that everything I do out there, I've worked in community partnerships with Fort Hood and Killeen, Harker Heights or surrounding communities, get out there and find challenges and then come up with tangible solutions. I think that's what's tangible is the key here. And also what's very important is to find out, we say what's in it for me out at Fort Hood, but what's in it for our citizens, what's in it for our soldiers. It's important that you always answer that question before you make a decision, because that's when you're going to get the buy-in and you're going to get successful implementation of projects and processes as you go forward.
Why did you decide to run for council?
Well, I've always been interested in local politics. I don't necessarily consider myself a politician. I consider myself more of an ambassador. It's kind of a nickname I have at Fort Hood, as the ambassador for environmental. And I'm proud of that, because locally we can accomplish things, and you get your hands on these projects or initiatives that you do, and put your hands around them and understand them. State and national, the bickering in politics, I'm not all about that. So I want to come and sit on the council. I've been working with the city staff for many, many years, and find these issues, have respectful debates, candid debates, and then make sure that we do something that's going to be in the good for the community, the region. We have to keep that into account. Our neighbors, Fort Hood, that's important that we do what we can to keep them around, to our part that we can do. And I'm a Lean Six Sigma guy, green belt trained. So using those efficiencies and those quality products there, using the techniques we use at Fort Hood in the military for doing strategic planning, I think is really important too, where we have our inputs, our outputs, and our outcomes. And you always go to your outcome. What is the outcome that you want to have? And then you go fill in your inputs and outputs. Well, I have all those capabilities, and I think that's really why I want to do it, because I'm not doing it off emotion. I'm not doing it for political gain. I'm not doing it for financial gain, for sure. Matter of fact, I plan on giving my money to the animal shelter on Clear Creek that I make from the city council. So I just want to be part of the solution. I preach that to my team, be part of the solution, and the only way I can be part of the solution is if I get to participate in it. So that's why I did that.
What do you think qualifies you for a seat on the council and gives you an edge over your opponents?
Well, I think the biggest qualification I have is I'm a good listener and I'm a fact finder. As my lapel pin says, I'm a doer. I'm dedicated, I'm organized, I'm efficient, and I'm responsible. I think that is what we as citizens, and I'm still a citizen, even if I sit on the council, we should expect of our elected officials, is to go out and listen to what the issues are, work through those issues, come up with a solution, and sometimes it's going to require compromise. But more importantly is to come up with a solution that we can provide to our citizens that is going to make them happy. Our quality of life is going to be better, and we're not always going to make everybody happy, but I think that if we do our due diligence and find the right way to do things, planning, so on and so forth, that's probably where my edge is at, is that I've got that experience. I've also got experience working with the city staff. Numerous years I've been working with them. I was way back when I was on the recycling committee. I was on the landscape committee. The landscape committee is a fine example of how we went in there with a lot of things we wanted to accomplish. We brought the appropriate stakeholders in. We compromised, and now I get to go around the city of Killeen knowing I was part of seeing commercial businesses with very aesthetically looking places, and it's nice to be able to see that. And then it protects the environment. I'm an environmental guy by trade, so those things that we can do to protect our environment, protect our resources for our future generations, I think it's important we do. So that's the edge that I bring. I'm not aligned to any specific, I don't have any businesses in Killeen. My passion is what I do at Fort Hood, working in my yard, being with my friends. So people can approach me. I think I'm very approachable. I'll listen to them. And again, I want people to come to me with potential solutions, not always just the problems. I mean, we got to hear what the problems are, but we need to. It's more important that we listen to what the potential solutions are, and then go get a coalition on the council to get that buy-in. Because I'm just 1/7, and move forward so that we can do better things for our community.
What's the biggest challenge you see the city facing, and how do you plan to tackle it?
I think there's several. And I went again, as I was doing my fact finding, I talked to the city manager, I talked to the police chief, and two of them that really struck my mind, and I agree with them, is our aging infrastructure, especially on the north side of town. We've got to develop strategic plans that put a systematic fix into place for that, because right now, according to city staff, we have about $1 million a year bill on street maintenance. The great thing is that some of the work that our prior councils have done, we're seeing those results now. So I'm not saying there's anything I could do in 2 years that's going to make it happen, but if we can set the stage for future things to be fixed, it'd be great. Public safety. My son's a police officer, not here in Killeen, but in a town just as large as Killeen, a little bigger, matter of fact. So police and public safety, our fire, our EMS, it's very near and dear to my heart, and I think the challenge that we have there is our city is growing so fast that our first responders, as far as staffing, is not able to keep up with our growing requirements. And I think it's important that we set a comparable pay and benefits package for our first responders so that we don't lose them to some of the competing cities, and that we'd actually gain more people coming in because they want to be in one of our premier departments. We've got great resources. I was just absolutely amazed in my conversation with the police chief on the things we're doing. They have a plan. They're following their plan. They're trying to get folks on board, but we got to make sure that we support that. I think that there's a lack of entertainment venues. I'm an avid race fan, and when the racetrack closed down out here, it broke my heart. I understand growth, and that's fine, but I think that, talking to citizens, what I found out, a lot of them's like, we just don't have nothing to do. A lot of that, I think, is that maybe we're not promoting the things that we do have to do well enough, and we need to do that better. But at the same time, I think we need to work with our chamber and our economic development council and get these guys to go out there and try to get some of these entertainment venues in here. Places like some karting. With all this young soldiers we have out at Fort Hood and our young members of our community, it surely's got to be something good to do. We need to work at maybe some of the pro golfs. Our putt-putt golf went away. I used to enjoy going over there. There was nothing better to do on a Friday night and go eat dinner at Texas Roadhouse and run across the street and play a little bit of putt-putt. One of the other things I think that is important that we do too is that we start looking at some of the bigger industry to get them in here. I haven't found the answer yet. I'm still looking for it of why we don't have a DHL and a UPS or a FedEx out at our airport. They love these little airports like this, and I'm sure there's a solution or an answer to that question out there, but I haven't found it yet. So overall, I think our community is doing well, and we just have those things. Sustainable design and development is another one of the key things I think we're challenged with. We got to watch how we build because our land is limited. And what I mean by that is that we need to start looking at dense projects. And a good example of that is there's a new development going up across from Metroplex called the Village of Clear Creek. That is a perfect example of the stuff that we should be promoting to where we get a multi-use design where you have, for instance, commercial development on the bottom and apartments on the top. And then that really provides and it sets back that urban sprawl that we're seeing in a lot of our areas. And provide some places for retirees to retire that's got some acreage. I think that's real important too. Another issue that I think that we really need to address is curbside recycling. I'm all for curbside recycling, but I think what we need to do is have a strategic plan in place because there are some legitimate issues out there. Just yesterday I read some articles, some editorials in the Clean Daily Herald from citizens that have legitimate concerns. The elderly. How are they going to do it? The multi-families. And the only way we're going to get around to finding a solution to that is sitting down with these folks and come up with potential solutions. Our recycling program needs to be citywide. I don't like to use the word mandatory, but it needs to be an incentive-based program. It needs to be a pay-as-you-throw program. And what I mean by that is it should be cost neutral. If you look at Colleen's existing structure for solid waste, there's only a $3.12 difference, I believe it is, between the smallest and the largest container. If you look at Austin's example, I think is a real good example, there's a $20.15 cost difference between the smallest and largest. And what that incentive is that if I have the smallest container out there, then my bill should go down. And if I don't want to participate in recycling, that's fine. And I want to have a 96-gallon container for solid waste, I should have to pay for that. Not every citizen should have to pay for everybody's trash. If you want to recycle, the incentive is that you recycle more, so you throw away less trash, and your trash bill goes down. And I think that's real important that we look at that, look at it strategically, look at some of the models from some of the cities in the region here. They're very successful, and we can also be successful. Fort Hood's program is very successful. We need to look at how they're doing things, slow this train down a little bit, think through it, and then implement a strategic recycling program that is consistent with our solid waste program.